never in my life ever going to a rodeo, especially after watching this film, LASSO. Yippee-ki-yay. Kind of been waiting to use this prop whip that I bought some time ago. Hey y'all, it's your twisted girl next door here, and today I thought I was gonna get on camera and just be really cute with my hat because I thought I was like going to, review this simple horror film that's kind of a cowboy western type of deal. And yeah, so LASSO happened, and whoa, oh my gosh. Basically, the film's plot deals with some rodeo goers go to a rodeo and things go off the rails. Basically, when the rodeo crew decides that they want to start kidnapping and killing everyone who attended. That's the plot. And wow. I think this film, you will be one of two ways with this film. This is one of those films that is extremely polarizing because either I feel like this is the kind of film that either you are going to love it and embrace it for all that it is, or you're going to be like, what was that? And not in a good way. If you embrace it for what it is, you'll be like, what was that? But like awesomely. And if you don't embrace it, you'll be like, what? There's a lot of what happening. And I think your what can be either yay, what, or whoa, what? So yeah, that's this film. And it's one of those films where I think it just basically embraces how crazy insane it gets, and just the plot line and the characters and what happens. There's a lot, but yeah. So let's get into it. Also, full disclosure, I went into this film knowing already that there was a lot of gore, and if you've seen any of my other reviews, you can check those out, of course, and also be sure to subscribe so you can see all my videos of all things horror. You know that I am not a big person on gore when it comes to blood and brutality. I'm definitely, one of my slogans I like to think is less is more in certain aspects of things, particularly horror, because I think leaving the mystery and it's what you don't see that's more scary. If it's done right, if the gore is done right, then it can be a good enough balance that I can either embrace the gore and be like, okay, this works, or I can at least see past the gore and be like, despite that, this was a good film. So that's my full disclosure in terms of my bias. And I went into this film kind of like, okay, it's either yay or nay in terms of me knowing that this is going to be really gory, and how am I going to feel about that? The acting was actually really solid. I think when you have a film like this where the plot line, as I said, there's some rodeo crew members who basically decide that they are going to start kidnapping and killing people and may or may not be shooting up with animal steroids. And so, yeah, I think when you have a film like that, you have to make it work so that it's not like a comedy, like it's not a zany, crazy comedy where it's supposed to be silly and you're supposed to play it like it's hokey, but you're actually supposed to play it like there's some fear factor going on here and the atmosphere is somewhat serious. Then you need good acting, right? You need actors who, but you need actors who embrace this film and want you to believe that they believe their characters are real and existing, because you can tell in some of these movies, even the over the top ones, where the actors, they're kind of phoning it in, or it's kind of like, yeah, this is crazy, and that can be good or bad. But I think if the actors choose to really embrace what the characters are and really embrace them being in this world and being in these situations, it can actually land really well. And I think the actors did a very good job. The atmosphere. Oh my gosh. One of the things that makes a good horror film is that it establishes the world that you're in. It's either a really creepy world, or it's a world where everything's normal and then something happens to make everything ridiculous. And I think what this film did, it established early on that there was something not right going on around them with this rodeo. Once again, I will never go to a rodeo. One of the words that popped in my head when I thought about this film was unsettling. There's something so unsettling about this rodeo, but not like overt. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where you go to a place and it's like, it's not like, oh, someone's already running around with a hatchet or something. It's more like, yeah, it's just, there's a vibe here. Definitely felt like something wasn't right. They did a good job in letting me know something wasn't right. The humor. You know, it's one of those things too where, like I said, I'll get into the gore and everything and like how over the top some of the violence and things was. But even with that, it can still go one of two ways. Either it gets really ridiculously gory and everything like that, and the stakes don't seem as high because they play it for laughs in a way, or they play it where the stakes is just, yeah, here's some gore, but here's a joke too. Or they play it like, here's gore, and yeah, it's still ridiculous, and it's still like people may die. And so it did that, but then throughout it, they had moments where you laughed a little bit. Not a lot, but it was a good enough balance. I don't think if it was a movie where they were trying to make jokes all the time that you would appreciate it as much, but I think it stood in its truth of how intense and crazy and dangerous the situation was, while still having some of the characters in the beginning and in little parts throughout it kind of sprinkle in a little bit of levity in a very crazy, intense situation. No rape! Yay! I know that sounds crazy to say, and I'm going to put that there because I think, you know, for viewers, it is important, especially for women viewers, not to get on my soapbox, but I think sometimes, especially, you know, I kind of worried when I didn't know the plot of what LASSO was, when I heard it was like, you know, LASSO Cowboy. Sometimes I've seen revenge plot westerns where the wife is brutalized and that's how the guy needs to get his revenge. I didn't know the plot at first. So when I finally looked at the plot, I was like, okay, maybe that won't be the case here. But sometimes that is the case. And I was pleasantly surprised that that was not the case. That, you know, the women weren't exploited necessarily. It was kind of equal opportunity killing going on. And I want to say that I don't think that's spoilery in the sense of, I believe that people, you know, when you go into some of these movies, you do need to get a little bit of a warning because you never know what triggers people. But also, it's a way, I think, in reviewing to say, I think it's a lazy narrative when rape is thrown in a lot of films. And exploitative kills and things of that nature, particularly to women, like the woman just has to die with her boobs out, things like that. And I think it's a little bit, you know, it leans on the lazy. And it's nice when a film, even as brutal and as violent as it can be, doesn't descend into that. Oh my gosh, some of these crazy kills that happened and crazy moments with, you know, one guy had that whip. I had a whip earlier. Kindred souls, but he was a killer. Maybe still kindred souls. But it worked, you know, and I appreciated it. And like I said, I don't like gore, but this movie, because it stood in the confidence of some of these kills, I was like, I have to respect these kills. And so the movie actually did a good job with the ensemble cast, you know, had older people, younger people, animals, things of that nature. Where you could pick some people out where you were like, I want this person to survive, or I really enjoyed this person on screen, this character on screen. Also, there was a rodeo clown. Rodeo clowns are awesome. Clowns are awesome. The mysterious rodeo clown. Another kindred spirit. Yeah, so there was definitely like one con and then two possibly deal breakers for some people that I want to point out just in case. That it wasn't necessarily like a detriment for me, but it may be for some other people. The plot holes. There was some stuff that just wasn't explained. And once again, you either embrace it or you don't. It wasn't like, oh my God, that makes this movie horrible. But it was like, okay, something's not adding up. There are two possible deal breakers. One is the thing with animals. This does take place at a rodeo. I know rodeos can be a controversial topic for, you know, some people's animal rights and things of that nature. I'm an animal lover. I like animals sometimes better than I like people. I got 3 cats, y'all. And so I think certain instances happen in the film that if you are an animal lover, you may not be very happy. Now, it's not gratuitous, though. Like, it's not to the point where it's like, oh, what the heck? You know, it's not like that, but there are some moments. And so if that's kind of a deal breaker for you, you may not care for this. The other deal breaker is kind of mixed in with my praise of the film, was the violence. Once again, if you are not into heavy gore, if you're not into, watching as the camera stays on someone possibly getting hacked to death and things of that nature, this is also not a film for you. Yes, I think this movie was scary. I jumped. I mean, there were crazy cowboys. Now, it wasn't like the scariest movie ever, but it definitely had some jump scares. This film is Stab approved. Stab certified. Stab. Also, whip. I enjoyed it, and I don't even like gore. So, what did you think of Lasso if you saw it? Have you seen some really good films, horror movies with some cowboys in them or some rodeo people in there that you think I should watch and give a shot to? Do you have a whip? I don't know. I do. Let me know. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. And also, be sure to subscribe so that you are the first to know when I post my videos of all things horror. Thanks for watching. Let's get creepy together.